All right, all right, all right. I should try that again. Unmuting myself. I said nothing says industry update like little Joan Jett to kick us off. It is Monday, the week of Thanksgiving, and nonetheless, the market is still going. And, you know, one of the biggest conversations this week and last week is, do you put a house on the market right before Thanksgiving or right before Christmas or right before insert holiday here, right? Because ultimately, timing is everything, and sellers are looking for our advice and opinions. And I can tell you, you're going to ask 10 agents that question, you're going to get 10 different answers. However, what I think you're going to see in the numbers today is serious people are still out there looking to buy and sell houses. Taylor, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Does everybody know you? Why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
I'm the new assistant team leader over at the Buckhead Market Center. Just started about a month ago.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the call. So here we go. Let's dive into some numbers first. Of course, I got to find the right thing to share here. Here we go. All right. So I like to remind everybody, if you go to the website, therealestatestats.com, it will take you directly to this Google sheet, and you should bookmark that and track our numbers. And we track them by county. We were tracking them by metro area and realized that the MLS was timing us out. So we went back and started tracking them a few months ago by county, and it's worked out much, much better and a little more hyper local for everybody in the first place. So what you're going to see is from October to the end of November, we've had a slow tapering down of new listings coming on the market. So much that we're sitting with 572. This is Fulton County. 572 new listings hitting the market over the last 7 days. 470 went pending and 387 went closing, or we closed. So here's what I would take from this. You're seeing the listings taper down. We've talked about over the last couple of weeks how seasonality is really kind of starting to show back up in our world. We didn't experience seasonality last year. It was just foot on the gas pedal, real estate blowing and going, and we never stopped. You're experiencing that right now. So it's going to feel a little different than it did 3 months ago. And it's going to feel a little different today than it's going to feel 3 months in the future. However, that doesn't mean the quantity of people going under contract is slowing down. 470 contracts pended in the last 7 days. 197 went under contract. And you can see 200 the week before, 200 the week before that, 210. So it's still a pretty strong number of people out looking and contracting on homes. So you can make a strong case that it's still a good time to be putting property on the market. DeKalb County, same deal, slow decline in new listings coming on. Steady Freddy on houses going pending, steady Freddy under contract houses, and steady Freddy on closings. So not too crazy change in the market outside of listings slowing down, which is good for our market right now. Cobb County, same deal. 324 new listings compared to 400 the week before. It's a pretty steep decline. 375 the week before that and 326 back at the beginning of the month. So you can see the volume of new properties coming on is slowing down a little bit, but the closings and the pendings are staying pretty constant, which is good news. Gwinnett, the other big county around here, staying pretty constant. 411, 433, 413, 412, 446. It's a pretty healthy number of new listings coming on the market. They're not slowing down as much as Fulton, DeKalb, and Cobb. So I just wanted to kind of pop the numbers up here. I can click on a couple others like Cherokee. They had a little uptick, but overall 150 is pretty much the number on new listings hitting the market every 7 days. So Taylor, do I make a case that if you had a listing, go ahead and put it on? Because it sure looks like houses are selling at the same pace they've been selling. Now, next Monday, I may say something totally different. What do you think?
I think that's been the attitude for most people recently. Is just as soon as you have a listing, it doesn't matter if it's holiday season or not, is just get it on the market, because you never know with what's happening right now where things are going to go in the next 7 days. So you could have it under contract, or it could still be, sitting there. So I say put it on there and see where it goes.
Yeah. And I should make mention that if you go to our kweasybutton.com and you click on the freebies, we put all the charts up here. So here's all the Chartmaster Chuck charts for Q3. We do an in-town supplement. We do a Heart of Atlanta market report once a quarter. You can get to all these different reports on here, as well as we put together a marketing piece that basically goes and takes territory for iBuyers. And I think iBuyers is such a hot topic right now because Zillow made it very hot topic when they pulled out of the market. But here's the Keller Williams flyer. If you download this, all these fields over here, you can edit and put your information in it. But here's the sample and here's your editable information. But why is this such a hot topic for an industry update? It's because iBuyers, they're here to stay. And if you go pull up any industry update website like Inman, and you go to Inman, it's always a big conversation around what's the market look like, right? And I just read an article, and now I'm not going to find it because I'm looking to show everybody, but it was simply that iBuyers are here to stay, and they're all over. So certainly something to keep your eye on, and we want to help everybody be a part of that. The other thing from a marketing standpoint is I would be encouraging everybody to use the language equity analysis of your home instead of pricing analysis, comparative market analysis. That's kind of the old language, where equity analysis is a much more modern language. And the good news is almost everybody has equity in their house right now. So it's such a hot topic. But what's a bigger hot topic, like straight off the news, is this right here. Taylor, tell me about this.
So I don't know if you guys really have watched the news or read the news or know anything about this, but they just not really reinstated, but they said that Powell is now going to continue with his seat as chair of the Fed. So
he's been our chair of the Fed, right?
And he's been our chair. He was kind of in the position where he was going to be replaced back in February, but Biden has decided that he wants to keep him. And, that could be really good for our industry. It could mean some changes are on the horizon. So that is something that if you haven't looked into it, it might be something that you want to just at least peruse an article, just so you're able to talk about it and see, seem a little bit knowledgeable about the topic. So the big thing for real estate in particular is it could potentially mean that interest rates are going to start rising. And so that is something that we're all going to be concerned with, not just as agents, but also for our clients. So that's something that's really big, and we're not 100% sure when it's going to happen. So it's just a wait and see kind of game, but it's really, really good to have your, finger on the pulse point here to see when things are going to start making changes. Because I know we're already seeing inflation rise right now. So this could also correlate to that as well.
Absolutely. And one of the things is when it's a little bit of the incumbent language in politics, meaning there's some comfort knowing that the same guy that's going in the future is the same guy or girl that led the direction of the past. So there's a comfort level of knowing what we know. Here's the thing around this guy is the reappointment of Chairman Powell is a very positive development for markets and the economy because it provides continuity at a critical time. So speaking to what I'm talking about is the economy feels a little shaky right now. We're dealing with some inflation, interest rates could be going up, price appreciations like skyrocketing. People are a little nervous about that. First-time home buyers are squeezed out of the market right now. All that being said, consumer confidence plays a big factor into this conversation, and which translates to us in the real estate community, because the higher consumer confidence is, the faster the pace of the real estate market, because they buy on confidence. So I think that this is probably a good thing for our industry. There's certainly supply chain inflation, which is a big thing coming up right now. We'll find out over the holiday season really how bad it is. Inflation is at a 31-year high. You can see that here. Is that temporary or is that a long-term thing? We'll soon to see. This new Federal Reserve chairman will certainly oversee that whole conversation. So it's a big deal for the economy of the US on this conversation. And it'll create a trickle-down effect to our industry around consumer confidence. So big conversation right here. Anything you want to add?
I think it is good to note too that Brainerd, who was slated to take over for Powell, has been added to vice chair for the Fed. And she's got a lot of really great ideas on how to kind of stabilize things, so we're not shaken up too much. So I think that's really, really good to just kind of look into if you don't know anything about the Fed or you're not familiar with who these people are, just looking at what their stances are on things and what they're passionate about, because she's really got her finger on a bunch of different topics that are really, really hot points right now. So she's trying to help stabilize a few things. And I think she's going to really help Powell out with some of the decisions that he makes in the future.
Perfect. The Atlanta Business Chronicle is an incredible news source, especially as a real estate professional. So one of the things is, obviously, if you pay for the membership of this, I think it's like $100 a year, $150 a year. You get access to the digital, but there's an entire residential real estate section. If you click on it, it takes you to this page. There's also a commercial real estate section, which takes you here. But what's important is real estate's such a hyper-local game. So for instance, if I'm a real estate professional that sells in Grove Park, or a real estate professional that works the west side, right? Or work up north of the city in Alpharetta, I need to know about these specific developments. They're very area specific, but I would encourage you to this is a great source of information that lets you stay up to speed on all things real estate in your local area. Highly encourage that. There wasn't any one specific topic I was going to cover today, but I just wanted to make sure everybody knew. There's also a home builder section here. There's a housing market section, and then obviously senior living and on so forth. Okay. Here's what economists and analysts think will happen to mortgage interest rates in the coming year. You're going to get asked this a lot. And the common thread is rates are going to go up. How much is debatable? Whether or not they're going up or not is probably not debatable at this point. It is a pretty common factor to know that rates are moving in that direction. But estimates on just how much differ. What does that mean for potential home buyers? So obviously, I don't think it's too elementary, but we should make mention when an interest rate goes up, causes the payment to go up, which brings affordability down for buyers, right? So if your income's not going up at the same rate as your mortgage interest rates or inflation or any of those factors that work against you in payments, you get squeezed on what you can afford. So somebody could afford a $400,000 house today that with inflation and interest rates going up might only be able to afford a $350,000 or $375,000 house 9 months from now if rates go up. So it's certainly a hot topic. Do I think they're going to go up crazy? I don't. I think they're going to creep up. I think there's an underlying pressure to keep rates low without letting them spike. But I think the economy actually wants the rates to go up a little bit. And if rates end up to be 4% by the end of 2022, it certainly will affect the refi market. But I can tell you there's so many people in line waiting to buy houses. I don't think it'll slow it down that much. I think it'll slow down affordability. Anything you'd say on that, Taylor?
No, I think everyone can kind of see that interest rates are going to be going up, and it's just something that you need to be cognizant of and make sure to have a little bit of knowledge on it just so you can speak to your clients about what's going on in the market. So being able to answer some questions or figure out what they need to know, that's just essentially what we're saying today.
There you go. All right. So NAR's annual conference, the 5 ways it changed the future of real estate. I'm not sure I agree with all these, but I certainly agree with some of these. So let's jump in. Consumers will see the compensation offered to buyer brokers. So whenever I put a listing out there in the internet, it's going to show now what interest or what commission rate is being offered to a buyer broker. Why is that important to us? We've known because it's been disclosed in the MLS all this time, but it's going to show dollars to buyers that used to think they got to work with us for free. And then they're going to think, well, maybe I can negotiate some of that, or it's just going to be a little more in their face on what the buyer agent is making. Right or wrong, it's something that has certainly passed and is coming down the pipe. Be aware of it. As of January 1st, the policies prohibiting agents and brokers from advertising their services as free unless they will not actually receive any compensation from anyone for them, and ban them from filtering out listings from website displays based on buyer broker commissions or the name of the broker or agent. Meaning, if there are brokers listing houses for 1% buyer commission, 2% buyer commission, we're not allowed to filter those to the consumer. Everything has to be shown to the consumer. And, it'll be an interesting training conversation when you say, for exclusivity to work with me, I work for 3%. And if you buy a property that doesn't pay 3%, are you going to make up the difference or not? Interesting conversation, to say the least. A lot of agents have always used the language free when representing themselves to buyers. It is now against the law to say that. We don't work for free. It's now a disclosed conversation. I find that interesting. The other thing is listing brokers' email or phone number will appear next to listings. listing broker being the agent. Also approved a policy to require the display of a listing broker's phone or email next to the listings on agent and broker websites. After stripping the proposal of one of its most controversial aspects, previous NAR MLS policy only required display of the agent of the name of the name of the listing firm. So now they actually have to disclose the listing firm's contact information. Basically, there was all this heated debate. There were two sides of the fence. Some of the big competitors like Realogy and Zillow came out on one side of the fence. Remax came out on the other side of the fence. At the end of the day, this is what they decided on. The other thing is displaying the Confederate flag can now get realtors in trouble for discrimination. So they drew a line in the sand that says if there's any kind of Confederate flag in advertising or marketing, it interprets it as hate speech, which is a pretty strong stance here. And then most policies will now be approved by top committee, not on full NAR board. That means nothing. That's the one I didn't necessarily care too much about. And then I think this is pretty cool, Taylor. For the first time ever, most of NAR's top leaders are women.
Woo.
First time ever. So a majority female in NAR's history, being in the leadership of the Association of Realtors. Leslie Ruda-Smith, I know personally, she's the president and she is amazing. So I find that fun stuff. Another fun thing I wanted to bring to the table today around our industry update is this fun little website called Walk Score. If you've ever played with Walk Score, it rates your property and it gives it ratings based on if it's a walkable property, if it's got good transit, if it's bikeable. So I pulled up this property in Cabbagetown, 700 Wiley Street Southeast, and it gave it a walk score of 77 out of 100 on walkable, 59 score around transit, and 86 score around bikeable. If I put in, I'll do the Charles over here. If I do the Charles, 3107 Peachtree.
Road Northeast.
Northeast. Nope, that's not it. 3107 Peachtree. See if I can get it here. There we go. So, anyway, this one's got 65 walk score. Some errands can be accomplished on foot. The transit's a 52 and the bike score is 32. Why is this important? Actually, that's a property. I was trying to do the Charles, but at the end of the day, I believe the consumer is going to want more ratings based on property. And if you're listing houses, it wouldn't hurt to come into Walk Score and get some of these ratings on your listings when you're displaying listings. I mean, the truth of this, Taylor, is the market's been so hot, we haven't really had to be a marketing type agents to sell property. And maybe we're getting lazy. But I think in the future, we're going to have to market a little more. One, it's fun if you're a buyer checking this stuff out. But two, this is certainly something that is fun to move on down the road, right? Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, marketing hasn't been a forefront of most people's real estate for the last year and a half, I'd say. So it definitely is something that I think now that the market's stabilizing and we're going to see prices go all over the place, and we're going to see a bunch of different scenarios popping up. I think that it's something that we definitely need to start taking a look at a little more seriously.
So fun stuff. So here is, I'm doing this on a whim. Here's the Charles right there at Peachtree and Roswell and Buckhead. So obviously it's very walkable. But if I go to brettcaldwell.kw.com and I go find the same property, 3107 Peachtree Road Northeast. Well, let me just grab one of these. Here we go. All right, so here's a property in the St. Charles building as well. If you'll notice on your KW website, they actually start to do some of the same stats down towards the bottom. Walkability, 79%. Nearby schools, private. They're starting to add some of the, these, I don't know what you call these things, these little ticker tapes that tell you how walkable, biking, crime rates, all the stuff from a marketing perspective. It looks like these are all sourced by, lived by. I was using the website Walk Score, but nonetheless, I believe this is the market, the way marketing is going to look like in the future around these scores. And we live in a rating system type world. If you look here, it shows it's 23 minutes by car to downtown, 37 minutes by bus, 41 minutes by bike, 60 minutes by walk. It's creating a lifestyle around a property instead of just features around a property. So there is your industry update for the week of Thanksgiving. I appreciate everybody joining us. Does anybody have any questions around what we covered today? All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and everybody try not to eat too much, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.